Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dengel. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to our show. Today we have a very special guest. Mike and Jason, do you remember back when we first started Business Talk? We had a co-founder that we started on the radio, and that was Kimberly Roush. And Kim and I think you were involved with this, Jason, we wrote a script on basic credit. Mm-hmm. And Kim, you and I, we went through the whole process reading 20 pages of script. And fortunately, through just watching and learning, Kim and you and I decided, well, there has to be a better way of doing that. And so we started really learning and understanding and putting into a Business Talk. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome back Kim. Kimberly Roush is a educational tech specialist with Ohio State University with the Extension program. She has an office down at the South Centers. Kimberly has been very actively involved in pursuing different kind of educational creativity programs that helps the OSU Extension. And in one of Kim's weak moments, I said, "Hey Kim, what are you doing next Wednesday?" And she said, "Well, I'll be glad to help you." Next thing you know, we have.
And that's
Kim
all
on
it
here.
takes, because that's why I'm here too. So we're in the same boat.
One little opening.
One little
So
opening.
Kim, what is an educational tech specialist?
Well, it's a brand new pilot program that just started in July. OSU Extension decided maybe they needed a connection to fill a gap between the Extension educators and some of the resources that are on campus. So the crew of 4 was developed, and we just go around. Right now, we're just starting to get into some projects working with the extension groups, but initially we were learning and going to meetings and just trying to see where we kind of fit together. But it's really exciting.
So what kind of technology are we using to facilitate this learning?
All kinds of technology. Whatever's needed in the field is kind of what we looked at. And there are some that are supported by OSU directly, but then there are a lot of things that the educators use and need out in the area that aren't really supported, I guess, officially by OSU. Let's say meeting, scheduling type software, or meeting connection sometimes. I know we have an Adobe Connect version of a meeting system that we're using right now. It was specially designed now for OSU, and it's called Carmen Connect. So we use that to meet.
So we may have jumped right in the deep end.
We did.
Maybe we ought to back up a little bit, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners are sitting out there and they're saying, what's an OSU educator?
Right.
So maybe we ought to back up and we ought to explain what educators are in Extension.
Okay. Well, let me back up even further and tell you kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
Right now, I serve 2 positions, really. I have a half-time position as a program assistant at OSU South Centers. I work for the Cooperative Development Center and then also support the business development groups there. The other half-time position is the Educational Technology Specialist position, which is an interim position. It's a year pilot program, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But
It allows you to spread your wings and fly and soar.
It does.
Yes.
It does. Extension educators, Extension is throughout Ohio, really. They have groups that actually teach the public on various topics. They have 4 really focused areas. One is the 4-H group,
Right.
which most people know about, the farm,
The ag side.
the ag side, the family consumer sciences, and then the community development group, which is who I'm assigned to, the small community development group, since that's mostly where my background lies right now.
So OSU has educators in each of those 4 areas, and they're in every county throughout.
A lot
Ohio.
of the counties, yes, yes.
So they're out there giving the education that a lot of the people are disseminating on main campus.
This is true. This
Well,
is true.
you know, and it's sort of a unique situation because we have a number of individuals that maybe have come to the University of Rio Grande or Ohio State University, acquired their degree, and maybe some of them, some of the individuals need assistance in certain areas. To give you an example, Wanda and I recently were looking at why all of a sudden we have all of these beetles, the
ladybug looking
ladybugs. And so we were able to call one of the extension people who happened to be an educator and understood how to effectively get rid of the ladybugs without it hurting the environment.
So how do you do that?
It's
a very timely subject.
Yeah, yes, it is, and we hope to have him on in January.
Oh, that'll help.
But in essence, Kim, from what I understand, fosters the connectivity between those individuals like myself who need information and the educators who have that education can easily disseminate that information in unique ways.
So we're possibly talking about new formats. Maybe it is like a go-to-meeting format, which is a video conferencing.
Yes.
Where they can take their education to the masses, much like what Mike is doing here for us. He's putting all of these lectures on video that's put out there for anyone on the web to basically view at any time.
Yes.
That is one of the main topics that we've heard quite a bit about right now, is they call them MOOCs, massive,
Yes.
yes.
Our
Massive
president
open
is,
online courses.
yes, she's very pro MOOCs.
Right. And we've gone to a number of conferences as our group, trying to look for maybe a one-shot, do-all kind of program, and it hasn't really worked out that way. A lot of them are unique.
Very
So-
targeted, maybe?
It is. Some will work very well with Macs, some don't work so well with Macs. It's just very targeted for
Now,
what
what
they're
do you,
looking for.
what is a MOOC exactly?
Massive open online course. That
Okay,
means
so is that
it can be
a-
accessed throughout the world.
A video course, or is it
It can be.
over a web page and stuff you read, or
It
what
can
do
be
they
a
look like?
combination. That's one of the main points, is that the different softwares develop different applications, I guess you would say. Some of them would support videos and
Right.
text, some of them do maybe just the text, book type information, so.
And then it's a massive online course. Do you get credit for such a course, or how is that used? How does that affect a university who's giving credit?
Exactly, and that's some of the questions that we're working on right now to see how that might work, once we get them up and.
So the answers are not there?
Right.
Okay.
We're kind of
In
a
some
development
cases, there are some
team.
institutions that actually give credit for completion of MOOCs.
Don't know how you prove it, but I guess there's tests you take.
Oh, sure,
Okay.
yeah, there would be.
But the nice thing is that you have the support of the university, and you have 4 talented individuals.
Very talented. I'm the probably beginner. I said we have a very developed team, everyone
You're the
can't be the
novice.
same.
The novice.
There we go. So I start from the beginning, and that way I can step people through that have not really been involved with certain aspects of social media and things like that.
And the interesting thing, when you say beginner, I still remember almost 4 years ago, you assisted in starting our little podcast program. And so let's talk a little bit about sometimes there's a fear if we're used to doing something and someone comes along with a nifty idea, sometimes we say no.
You mean like that guy that was up on the hill that says, we could put this on television?
Yeah, and Pat just got on AOL Online.
Yeah. I still have my dial-up.
Yeah.
But what you're more of the. You
I
are
love
not
learning new things.
That's
Let's
right.
just say that.
And-
Yes.
And you're helping to instill other individuals look at those options.
Sure.
Because until you mentioned MOOCs,
MOOCs.
That was, I've never heard that before.
I told you about that at lunch. You went, what? A MOOC? I don't know if she'll talk about that or not. It's like, I bet she does.
All you're doing is helping other individuals expose themselves to new concepts in media teaching.
Right. Well, in part, yes. There's also another aspect, social media, just connecting people with new ways to do things. Social media is a wonderful way to market the programs that they have. So setting up some kind of a schedule for them to do that.
Let's see
And then
how-
integration of things, even with like Blackboard and some other online learning platforms are now integrating Facebook and Twitter and all these other ways of communicating. So the lines are getting blurry.
A lot of it has to do with where your audience is too. Who you're trying to reach. And I know specifically with Tracy's position, with the 4-H and Extension, most of her kids, they're on Facebook. And they're texting mode. You don't telephone them. You don't email them. They don't answer they'll be on their phone, but they won't answer their phone.
Oh yeah, it's crazy how there's so many ways to get a hold of somebody and you still can't talk to them.
Yeah, the communication is, you post it on Facebook and they'll see the posting and they'll communicate to you through Facebook and they'll communicate with you through texting. But the old traditional way of actually speaking,
Calling
mail,
and have a two-way
email,
conversation.
You mean they
Wrong
have
generation.
now devices that you can literally type on one phone and it
Now,
goes
you
to
know that phone that actually open like this that you
Yeah.
had for years.
No, it's
you
a
know.
big one.
Yeah,
You
It's
still got
gone
that
away.
thing that you throw over your shoulder.
I had the one that
bag
looked like
phone.
a purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Well, that's just the kind of guy you are.
That's right.
But the interesting thing, and I bet you, Kim, know, the technology has just exploded.
It is.
And let's see, we have Facebook. What are some of the other social media?
Facebook,
Twitter?
Twitter definitely are two of the big ones
And
that
then
most
we have-
everyone's involved with.
Pinterest?
Pinterest.
And what is Pinterest?
That is a place to display what I've heard some people talk about is they get a lot of their recipes from there.
It's kind of a crafty kind of place.
It is. A lot of pictures will be posted on there, and one of the unique technologies that I'm really interested in is infographics. It's getting this huge amount of information into a picture form. Easy to read, easy to understand, quick view, and you've kind of got it, and see if you want to read maybe the rest if it's attached to some other kind of a document. So,
And that's
and
what
that
is
would
that-
be something that would be on Pinterest.
What does that look like?
A lot of graphics with some
Text
yes,
and
data.
pictures?
It is.
Okay.
And also there's Instagram. I'm not sure what Instagram is. What is it?
Just a way to post pictures in unique ways, I think. You can develop little graphics with your pictures.
Oh, there's also Vine.
Fine.
Vine.
Right. I think that's 6-second video clips that you make. And it just rolls over and over and over.
There is so much out there. It's just one thing after another.
And there's also blogging now.
There is, and that's become very useful for us right at this point. It's kind of taking the place, I think, in my opinion, of newsletters, because the information stays continually updated. The top little
Right.
document will be the most current. So, and it's
It's your
easily
own personal
accessible.
website.
Not always personal, but yeah, team groups and things like that can
Well,
really work. And they're
Well,
very searchable.
organizations can do it, but then also people with agendas can have a, whatever focus type of blog. If
Do
they
people have agendas?
I know several that have agendas.
Oh, okay.
Well, as a matter of fact,
it shows up in search optimizations at the top of the list, so that makes it really nice too. So.
well, even your Edge Tech with the OSU Extension is in a format like a blog.
I get to do a shameless promotion, our EduTech blog. You can take a look at it at, let's see, https://u.osu.edu/extension ed, which is EdTech, TEC.
So what are they going to find there?
They will find just information about technology, little blurbs on how to do this and that in one location. Really interesting things. I think they will be really happy and want to sign up for it.
Now my password, I've always used the password 77778.
That's good to know.
And here's an article about keeping your password safe.
Yeah, that's not a really good example, Pat, but that's great.
Maybe read that again, Patrick.
My password?
It's all right. It's
But the article.
archived on this forever.
Oh, that's right. But also it has several other kinds of articles, and one of them was the history of the co-op extension and how that affects the future.
Sure.
Education is changing.
It is.
Haven't you found that?
It definitely is, and we're going to have to do different things to keep up, to meet our public where they are, which is online. I mean, we just have to get there.
Do you think
What
it's as
happens-
effective as classroom or anything else?
I think it's generational. I think it depends on who you're talking to.
Well, that's what I was going at. Yes, we're trying to keep our younger generation in touch, and so we're moving toward technology, but aren't we forgetting some other people? The Pats of the world, the other generation that's not keeping up? Are we leaving them behind?
I don't think so. Those are the knowledge holders. I think they definitely have a place. I just think we need to, they're so limited in time, we just need to make it very concise, and that's kind of what we're trying to develop with our little group to
I know,
help
I
educators.
got involved in helping some family members with some insurance changes. And very quickly, it hit me that this whole new insurance issue is all online. It's all, which to me is great. You hop online, you can make the changes, everything's fine and dandy. Now, have a computer. They don't want a computer. They don't want that information out there.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, there are some people that do not have a checking account because I want to have the money in hand. And I'll go get money orders and deliver it by hand.
So,
Well, you know that will go out the door eventually. I mean, it just
Yeah.
will.
so it's okay to
It's
leave
what
some people
happens.
behind? Is that what we're
I
saying?
don't like to consider leaving people behind. I think there's a place for everyone, but I think the best options always come to the top. And when that happens, something will have to drop off the backside. So, but it will take some time. Generational, when those move through and.
Well,
I do think sometimes we give the younger generation a little bit too much credit as far as using technology. I get a lot of questions of how to do a lot of different things. I thought you guys should have known this. But they just know how to do what they want to do. Play games, be on Facebook, and maybe Twitter, and maybe call some people. And that's it. They don't know much more about what video formats and all this kind of thing.
Knowledge holders, see?
Well,
It's that middle generation there.
it's interesting on the blogs. When my wife Wanda went to Germany, she communicated every day. She would go in the evening to one of the computer cafes, and she would type what happened that particular day. And so that journal, she kept for primarily we didn't know where she was, so we would always go onto that blog site, and that has had over I want to say 5,000 hits in the 4 years, and it's interesting that Most of the individuals that have read it are from the Eastern European area that wanted to learn about Germany and Poland and things of that nature. And Wanda is one of those individuals that does embrace technology. And she will try things.
Right. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
What kind of technology things do you have to get over as far as trying to get people to use it?
I think it's just time, because it does take time to learn, and mostly just playing with it, just getting in there and using it. That's how you really.
Yeah, and everybody's afraid, I'm going to break it.
Yeah.
You're not going to break anything. You might do it kind of weird, but you're not going to break anything.
Right. But
Now,
the
for me,
educators.
it's time.
Oh.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I honestly have never caught on to Twitter. It just,
Yeah, I just can't get in that groove. I don't know why. Do you tweet a lot?
I have a Twitter account since, I want to say 2009,
I
and I
agree.
have one post.
Yeah, I agree. I did the same thing. I opened it up because everyone
Used
told
it.
me I needed to do it, and I got in there and I'm thinking, I don't
Now
see why
what?
I need to do this.
Now, we are getting ready to have our annual conference in Columbus in December. So when this happens, we're going to have a Twitter feed reading in the back. So I will get some use out of it. So it just depends on where you are. And
Well, let me ask you something, because I'm like all of you. I have a Twitter account, but
You don't tweet.
I don't
You're a
tweet.
Twitter that don't tweet.
Easy for you to say.
Absolutely.
But let's just suppose I have a hot topic, and I have something that
You mean a hashtag or what?
what's a hashtag?
It's a way to.
it's like a scanner bar. You can
It's a tag. If you search you search things, they're tagged with things. And these hashtags, which is the number symbol, is how you would maybe tag your conversation with, whatever you were
Oh, okay,
speaking about.
okay.
And I know there has been a place in education for Twitter and for hashtags. I know some instructors at some of the larger universities will actually have a Twitter feed going on at the same time that they're actually giving lectures, so they share the same hashtag. So if someone, the old way where if you had a question, you raised your hand and they called upon you and you asked the question, well, now they're just putting the questions into Twitter
They're doing
feeds.
it within the classroom
They're doing
on
within-
Twitter.
in the classroom. Yeah, so there's actually a Twitter feed
Instant
that's going
feedback.
along at the same time. I know that during the presidential elections, there was some of the same situations going on. During the speeches and during the debates that was happening, you had a Twitter feed that was following. So there was dialogue. It was interactive.
Well, what happens if you have a topic and 100 people respond? The latest is seen the first. What about the other individuals that responded first? I often wonder, when it comes to
Just get lost in the crowd like every other time.
yeah.
It's like, I'm number 58. Read down.
Keep going.
But when we were prior talking about that, there seems to be now another program that sort of helps that issue, and that's Wordle. And I didn't see Wordle.
Is that a name or is that a place?
I'm assuming it's another program
Okay.
It is.
that allows you to scan a document.
Well, that's not the game that Alec Baldwin was playing and got thrown off the plane.
No, probably not.
Okay.
Words with Friends, I think, is what that is.
Oh, okay. We're
Yeah.
close.
But a Wordle takes all of the different words in a document and sort of builds a caricature of different different parts, and at a glance you can see specific words that are sort of outlined. the
most used. Yes.
Most used, and then you're
So
They
able
call
the
it
more
a
it's used, the
Wordle
bigger
cloud.
it gets.
yes.
Does it take into account people saying like and a lot?
Let's do mine when you get done here, and then we'll be able to tell that.
But sometimes you can take a very large document and you can see, from what I understand, you can see the context of where the paragraphs are going. Now, I don't know if that's good or not, but it does help if you have constant feeds, I would assume.
It would, yeah. That's another article on the blog, the EduTech blog, so check that out on how to do that. It creates something that you can insert into a document, very visual. I'm very visual. So, and also you can use it for a URL. We had this conversation not long ago, how if you use the Wordle application to search over a URL location, that maybe you could see how your optimization search online would work, because you're going to get the most used words coming the largest, so you can see how you might show up at the top or how you're being seen that way. So thought that would be beneficial.
Is that the leading edge of what you're doing? Is that the latest thing you learned, or what's the newest thing you've done?
The latest thing, let's see. Well, something really interesting. We went to a conference called an unconference here not long ago, which I had never done this before, so that was new for me. I'm not sure if the others had. We went in, and the group decides what the topics are going to be. There is no agenda until you get there and vote on what you want to talk about that day.
Okay.
So then you're split up once the agenda is set. After everyone has input, then you go to like your four corners and share information on different technologies. And a lot of those were...
How long does it take to set an agenda?
Oh, I think they had scheduled like 10 minutes. You didn't
Okay.
have very long, and some of them are duplicated when they're similar into similar locations. So, but that was very interesting. And they use technology to be able to share, let's say, notes. And your iPad, if you had an iPad, in one area you could share your notes. Another was share click, and one was Google. They had different options on how to share. So that was very interesting for me, an unconference. So the audience decides.
And you get a chance to go to different states, my understanding, in your looking at the different technology programs?
Well, Extension is located throughout the United States. It's not just Ohio. So we do collaborate with other states and technology use. There's a group in New Mexico that is developing gaming and apps, some really interesting things going on there. And I think we're going to be taking a trip maybe February down to see what we can do with them, what they can teach us, kind of. So what's going to happen in the next 3 months with the EduTech? Well, right now we're looking at projects with specific teams in our respective area. Mine would be community development, and they're looking right now. A couple of groups are looking at developing maybe apps. Some are looking at trying to put classes online. So we're trying to find what is the most efficient way to do both of those things.
And then once you find that out, then you're able to share that with many of the educators. Do you force the educators, the extension people, to use these tools?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Just try to make it concise and easy to use. That's always my goal. And the program areas, they're eager. The community development group's really eager to learn and to use that, but time constraints, it is hard.
And I think it varies depending on what area you're in. Yes, like we mentioned the 4-H group, they're eager to use technology because that's what the kids are using. But you get into agriculture, where you're talking about ag extension agents who are dealing with farmers who are...
Actually, I have a story about that.
they're...
Farmers out in the field are wanting iPads now while they're in their tractors to give them something to...
The larger farms are, because a lot of your larger tractors are driven by GPS. If you go to some of the larger farms, I'm talking about the 1,000-acre farms that are up north, and you happen to be driving down the road and you realize how perfect all those rows are, well, there's a reason for that. Those tractors are guided by GPS.
So like a Roomba for your field?
A what?
There
a
you
Roomba?
go.
A Roomba.
It's like a...
Vacuum
Isn't
cleaner,
that a place you go on
robot
vacation?
vacuum cleaner.
It's a robot vacuum cleaner.
Oh, iRobot.
Okay.
So yes, some of them are, but yet, we're still in southeastern Ohio, and we still have a lot of older farmers that still live in the country that still have dial-up if they have internet at all. So we still have to accommodate them by some of the old methods.
Yeah, and so that's good then. Kimberly, it is great seeing you again. We do miss you. We do hope that you come back and talk with us.
Maybe the end of this year, then I can tell you all the new things that are
Oh,
going on.
that'd be great. That'll be great. But again, thank you very much for sharing some of the things. EduTech, if you give Jason, Mike, myself, or Kimberly a call at our respective offices, we'll give you where you can get this
blog
information.
address.
Yes. Next week we have Sharon Hall. Sharon Hall works at the hospital, Holzer Hospital, and she has a unique program that's going to be involved with helping children who have lost their one of their loved ones. So until then, I'm Patrick.
I'm Jason.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Mike. Thanks for watching.